How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
My name is Happy Gilmore. I haven't swung a club in years.
You know what you got to do.
Grip it and rip it.
Or... Oh, now that is some Happy Gilmore.
Everyone is talking about the comeback kid, Happy Gilmore.
Happy knee.
Yeah, baby.
Happy Gilmore 2, only on Netflix July 25th. Rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Welcome to another Find the Edge production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So, welcome everybody to the Premier League Cricket Show, and once again brought to you by our partners at B3 Cricket. Joining me as always, sponsored by Cric Stats AI, Mr. Hugh Newsome. How are we doing, buddy?
Very good, very good. Enjoying the...
How was your weekend?
It was... I got caught slogging. Yeah, I was thoroughly enjoying myself. 26 off, not a lot of balls, and then carried on slogging and got cleaned up. So, yeah.
Well, looking at the score your lot put on, you missed out there, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Well, better than my fellow opening partner who get one. So I at least got 26. No, so I was thoroughly enjoying myself. I was cross.
Good.
But these things happen. And if you swing the bat and don't play straight, you get cleaned up.
Absolutely. And talking of swinging the bat and getting cleaned up, he didn't even get a chance last weekend. Our mate from Cric X, Mr. Matt Taaffe, how are we doing, mate?
Oh, good. I wasn't swinging the bat. I was dragging my leg round.
Are you fit yet?
10 overs. Thought I was fit. I wasn't fit.
Oh.
So I was quite glad I didn't have to go out to bat, to be honest. Just led in the changing room for the second innings.
Okay. All we'll say is, listen back to the last couple of episodes, and I do know that Dr. Newsome did say if it's a hamstring. You did say him, didn't you, mate?
Have you wrecked it then?
No, it's all right. It was just, I woke up Sunday morning, thought I'd been run over by a bus.
Right.
And then headed to the gym for a bit of ice and sauna to try and loosen it. But the last 8 overs, first innings, was terrible.
Good win, though. Good win, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, great win.
And joining us this week, our guest, we did tease it out last week, but it's quite simple. He's the number one run scorer in Premier League cricket in the UK right now. Now, I've got to say, thankfully, he wasn't overtaken last weekend, because I wouldn't have been able to say that, because it would have sounded a bit stupid, wouldn't it? He has been joined with more than 1,000 runs in the season so far by Sam Evans at Leicester Ivanhoe, but he's been top of the charts since day one. Adam Jones at Sudbury in the East Anglia League. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
No, absolute pleasure. And, for us to have the number one run scorer on at this stage of the season, there's a lot of cricket to talk about at the end of the day. It's been going all right, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, I think the weather plays a massive part in the surfaces, particularly in the EAPL. We're obviously pretty blessed to play on some very nice grounds and that kind of thing. And I'd say probably across, or certainly our league has been quite high scoring, and there's been a lot of runs. And yeah, thankfully I'm a batter and not much of a bowler, so it's been tough work for the bowlers. But it's been good.
But I'm gonna hold you to this. So the East Anglia Premier League is famed for its quality services, good standard competition, and runs. But Australians, the word on the street is Australians, when they go over there, they take about 6 months to get used to it. We got Jake Weatherall, didn't do a huge amount until he got going, and then he did really well.
Hang on, he's in Australia A right now. He's in Australia A, so don't you go putting Jake down.
Jake Praise McGurk didn't do a huge amount. Just the Aussies found it very difficult. You've come in What's going on? You're just all over the Aussies. What's going on?
I probably should preface that that I did play at Sudbury as well last year.
So is that it? You just got a year's grace.
Yeah, you obviously it's like anything. Obviously, being born in the UK, but I was raised in New Zealand, sort of having time to adjust to obviously the Duke's ball and the conditions are different. They're probably a little bit lower and slower. So it just sort of it forces you to like learn new ways to score runs. And I think the one thing that I would say is if you bat with an ego in the UK and you just try and whack people, it's you're going to get found out pretty quickly. So just try and like remove that and actually just play what's in front of you and each situation as it is for every sort of team, that whatever the level is. But yeah, obviously being around last year helped, and then again, like I said before, the weather this year's been great and the wicket's been flat. So you just sort of try and do your job for the team and whatever that requires.
Absolutely. And I think early season in particular this year, East Anglia, the runs were just flowing for everywhere you went, weren't they? The pitches out there and the weather early season must have felt like literally being back home in New Zealand almost, didn't it? It was that real nice balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, if people have been to Sudbury Cricket Club, they would know what the boundary sizes are like. So that also plays a part. But there are also a heck of a lot of people that get caught trying to take on a 40-meter boundary straight down the ground. So, but yeah, it's been nice. Obviously, yeah, the weather back home in New Zealand is pretty good, but it's been equally as good here. So I think also just playing cricket so regularly if I was to compare it to last year, it was very stop-start, and as a batter, like you want that rhythm. So to just play is, it's been cool. I've enjoyed it.
When you finished the New Zealand season, how long was it before between innings when you started at East Anglia? Was it like a month and that was it? You're back into it?
Even less, I think. I think it might have been 2 weekends. Yeah, so it's pretty quickly. You finish it summer at home in New Zealand and then jump straight back over here, and yeah, it helps just like being in that rhythm all the time. And as I said, when you're in,
it's that continuity.
100%. So yeah,
definitely.
Well, I was just looking. Obviously, last year. You did very well. It was a tough year, but I think just looking at your overall club stats, you averaged 35. They signed you up for another season. Obviously, very happy with how things went. Did they expect you to explode like you have done? I mean, just looking at the overall club stats, you're just shy of 1,100 runs, an average of 90. That's not just weather related. What's clicked this year to really fire you?
It probably comes back to like what I said before about like trying to like remove your ego and that kind of thing. Obviously having that taste last year, I felt like sort of in my game there was a couple of really key areas that I needed to improve, whether that's sort of playing club cricket or whatever. They just had to improve. So thankfully, the club that I play for in New Zealand is incredibly blessed with a lot of ex-internationals, and I've developed quite a good relationship with Colin Munro, the left-handed opener that played for New Zealand.
Useful.
And I spoke to him just about a couple of things, and he was unbelievably generous with his time and talking me through a few things. And to be honest, it wasn't like massive sort of changes. It was just like subtle things here and there. And yeah, I don't know. It's just trying to stay as present as you can. And you can get 100 one day and a duck the next. So you can't really take too many things for granted. And cricket's such a fickle sport, so you just got to try and ride the waves, and there will be peaks and there will be troughs too. So yeah, just get stuck in and enjoy it while you can.
What's your cricket life like in New Zealand? Is it? I mean, I'm pretty familiar with the Australian grade scene, but not very familiar with the New Zealand scene. Does that have the same links with pro cricket? Are you involved with pro cricket or looking to get involved with pro cricket?
Yeah, so in terms of we tend to have quite a few of our domestic cricketers in New Zealand regularly come back and play club cricket. Obviously, we have a lot less. So we would call it A cricket, and that would be the equivalent of county second 11 cricket.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So because there's a lot less A cricket that we play in New Zealand, when you're not playing for we call it a major association, then they'll regularly filter back into club cricket. And I think that does, it definitely strengthens the club competition, but it also gives you a really good taste of what is required of your game to sort of get to that next level. I guess from my point of view, I don't really think about it too much. So I'm a director of, it's called the Academy Development Manager at Howick Pakuranga Cricket Club in Auckland, and so I'm pretty heavily involved in cricket. But I'm very much just if I go into a little bit of background, I did a season at Three Bridges when I was in Sussex when I was 18, and that was as a left arm off spinner, and like a very average middle order batter. So to now go to someone who's not bowling hardly at all, and then to open the batting, it's sort of gone full circle. So I've played like a little bit of everyone over here would know it as second 11 cricket in New Zealand as a bowler, and then I made the move to Otago as I went to uni, and then played a couple of years for Otago in the like second 11 comp. But yeah, I'm very much, if you work hard and you do enough of the right things, then I'd like to think that you will be rewarded. And if you just keep doing the right things for your team and win games of cricket 1 week at a time, then that's all you can really ask. I'm not someone that is overly fussed. I would love to play professional cricket. Obviously, being a British passport holder is also huge, because it means that I can come over here and play this NCCA stuff too. But yeah, I mean, whether that's in Auckland and New Zealand or wherever in the world, I just want to play against the best people and try and challenge myself as much as I possibly can.
I'm just going to jump in there. So Ian wants to ask you a question as well, but I'm looking at the Three Bridges stats here. For Mr. I bowl a bit and a bat a bit.
Exactly.
So your Three Bridges stats, as an 18-year-old, average of 22, top score 91, very decent. But I'm looking at the bowling, which you now don't do, 49 wickets at 15. What's going on? You get the yips?
Yeah, classic. Genuinely, just a classic case of the yips.
It seems a very familiar story. I've heard this from numerous people very recently, just people, again, all through youth cricket, no worries, and then it's just gone.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think if you dwell on it, it's going to eat you up. So, but I think also in sort of being a bowler that is now probably more predominantly a batter, it does like sort of change the way that you see things. And I guess you could sit there and be like, oh, well, if you could bowl now and that kind of thing. But I don't really look at it like that. I think like there was so many learnings sort of across that journey as I was sort of coming or like losing my bowling essentially, and then going into a batter, and I probably tried too hard, if that makes sense from a bowling point of view. But yeah, I mean, there's no point dwelling on it. Like, it is what it is.
Well, the famous case is Nasser Hussain, isn't it? I mean, Nasser Hussain was a leg spinner till he was 18, and just lost it and reinvented himself as a batter. So there's test caps coming for you, Adam.
That's a long way off just at the moment, but we'll just go one game at a time.
Absolutely. And we will talk about potential other avenues for cricket for you a little bit later, but let's have a look around the East Anglia League at the weekend, Hugh, because the irony is we've gone on about the weather. Shit last week, mate.
And the week before.
There's me spending 5 days of watching a draw at Old Trafford, and I'm watching around the country and seeing, not carnage to be fair, but games being called off and abandonments all over, including East Anglia.
Yeah. It was a tough one. I mean, your game could have done with being called off, couldn't it, just before it rained? Because I know Mildenhall were very unlucky in their loss. Mildenhall bowled Witham out for 107 and were 39 for no wicket off 6 overs, and it got rained off. Yeah. You were a little bit on the wrong end of Downham Stowe and a certain Brett Stolworthy. Downham put up 156 all out, and then Sudbury all out for 90. So how long, Adam, did it last before it rained after you got out?
Yes, Brett's a very good bowler, isn't he? And he's done it for a long period of time. Would it have been nice for the weather to just come in a bit faster? Yeah, absolutely. But nah, look, I mean, yeah, obviously we had a washout the week before as well, so it does seem ironic that we're talking about it.
Absolutely.
But,
what's it like to face Brett Stallworthy? He's an absolute legend of the league down there. Moved to Downham this year. What's it like facing him?
I actually love it. He's really, really good for a battle, and he's always got a smile on his face, and I think he really plays for the right reasons, and he just loves getting around the boys and having a good time on a Saturday. Obviously, he's incredibly skillful, but I'd say that his biggest skill is that he just keeps running in and running in again and again and again. Yeah, he does the same thing for Norfolk as well. So you sort of say to your betting partner at times, if we just get through these two, then we might be all right, and he might have a break, and then sort of 6, 7, 8 overs later, he's still going. So,
absolutely. Yeah. I think the other thing, Hugh, in that game that's interesting, I've said this before, if the Wilcoxes don't get you from Downham Stowe, Freddie Ferry will. Yeah. And, Freddie Ferry, top scorer, 49. It just seems to be the Wilcox and Ferry show down at Downham Stowe this year. Great bunch of guys down there. As you say, to bring in someone with the experience of Brett, they've got a talented side there, haven't they, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen Freddie score far too many runs this year. Obviously, again, he's a hell of a player, but he scored 100 against us in the NCCA 2020s as well at Woolpit. But I think, Saturday was a very different sort of side of Freddie to what I'd seen before, and it was a really mature innings. But those Wilcox boys are doing a really, really good job. And obviously, like recently, it's their first year in the league, so it's cool to see them come up and do well and really challenge teams that have been in the league for some time.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
What else we got then around East Anglia at the weekend, Hugh?
Mostly rain. Most games got an innings in, or most of an innings in, which is a little bit frustrating from our point of view. Not necessarily frustrating from some of the people on the wrong end of it. Jaden Goodwin continuing his excellent form every time I see him. He seems to be putting some kind of numbers up. He's got 59 in out of 156 for Frinton. That got rained off against Swanston. They mentioned the Mildenhall game. They were particularly unlucky there. I think they were well set for a win, and they desperately needed one as well. So that's kept them in relegation trouble. Bury St Edmunds put up 188 for 6, but Horsford didn't get a bat in that. That got rained off there. And Great Witchingham with 135 for 2 after 43 when that got rained off. Nico Reefer with 54, Nathan Muggeridge 67. Copdock got an innings in, 41 overs against Sawston. They were bowled out in that 41 overs. Stuart Hepburn 55, and then James van der Peer 3 for 29, and then Sawston only got going really. They were 10 for no wicket when it got rained off there. So yeah, it was wet.
Absolutely, and I think there's a couple of things I picked up around the league of the weekend. Copdock, they were in trouble. They were 27 for 4 on Saturday against Sawston. So for that game to end up where it did, I think they'll be more than happy to end up in that situation. Copdock are in third place of the league, Sawston at top. That could have been an even bigger gap if that one had gone all the way. The other thing I picked up was good to see Nathan Muggeridge getting runs again, as you've said already, Hugh. Been in and out the runs a bit this season, but him and Nico Reefer at Great Witchingham, getting some scores on the board. Great Witchingham had a bit of an in and out season this year, and we called them the great entertainers last year, Adam, because we saw them, sort of either losing massively or winning massively. How cool is it to play against clubs like that in this league? You've got that ability to attract really top end players, but then sometimes it doesn't always work, does it?
Yeah, it is obviously pretty cool. I think whether it's Great Witchingham or even Sawston, Sawston obviously have Wayne White and now Nikhil Garantla, who's just been signed by Surrey. But yeah, I think that's what it's all about. And again, like I touched on it before, just like trying to test yourself against these players and sort of to see them up close and personal on a field in a club game on a Saturday is very cool.
The other question I've got to ask about East Anglia: how much of a shock is it to see Mildenhall down there at the bottom at the moment? That to me is an absolute real surprise.
Yeah, obviously I think they were second last year. I could be wrong. You might have to fact check me on that one. But
I think they ended up in fifth.
to have a very okay, right. But yeah, to have a very similar team, obviously Darren Ironside does a lot of the run scoring for them, and KC with the ball.
Yeah.
But they are just a very, very good cricket team, and as most of the teams in the EAPL I think are. You know, you can sort of get them 4-5 down, and then all of a sudden they've got a partnership and taking the game away from you. But in the same sentence, I think it's good for the league to have different names at the top, and some clubs obviously over the winter recruited quite well, and others are probably finding themselves in situations that they wouldn't like to be in. But again, I think Mildenhall I think their recent form has been quite good. So it seems like they have sort of found that formula again that's done them so well in the past.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got to talk about one of your other leagues shortly, because we've got Sussex is on the list of leagues to talk about this week. So I'll be interested to get your feedback on that one. But before we do that, we've got to look at the runs from around the weekend across the country, and obviously start with our mate, Mr. Matt Taaffe, because I think we've got something that we haven't had this year with your top three, Mr. Taaffe at Cric.
Ashwin Hebber for Royal Wootton Bassett, 184 off 124 balls, and that is a record for the club, that innings. So proper knock from Ash, and then do you know what? You're wrong.
Oh,
yeah, you are wrong.
You have to edit this out. This bloke plays twos. Second, 164 not out, Harindu Jayasekara for Frochester, and then St Austell's Sri Lankan exploit with the bat. Harindu Dick Well, 142 off 90 balls. Against Callington, and if you've seen any of the clips on Frogbox, he's absolutely sending it miles. Marshfield's women's overseas, Isabella Cilliers, 141 off 100. She did score 200s in the weekend, and the second was in a 2020, so it's a serious weekend from her. And then moving down, there's plenty of hundreds. Mani Sankamura-Singha, he's gone back-to-back hundreds, Livo. Yeah, 71 balls last week. He faced 44 this week. So he's hitting them clean in that competition.
44 balls.
44 balls this week in the 100. So he's let others have a go.
I've had longer ducks.
Yeah, so I think they progressed through to the finals day of the Northeast 100 competition. So he's in big form there. Thaluna Dilshan, Warrington, 100. Callum Taylor at West Herts, 100. And then, like you say, there's plenty more hundreds and a few 99s knocking about again. We get an awful lot of them this year, which isn't good because they like that extra run for the milestone.
No, it's just jug avoidance. We know it is. And yes, you're right. I was wrong with the top three batters because it's the top three bowlers are all Premier League when we come to it later. But talking batters, the name at the top of the pile around the country this week, he is having, to be fair, Adam Jones is the number one run scorer in Premier League cricket around the country. But the guy with the biggest score of the weekend in Premier League cricket last weekend, he's got to be one of the biggest run scorers in the whole bloody country, full stop at the moment, Hugh.
Yeah, he's going all right, isn't he? Yeah, Ian Cobain, familiar name across international cricket circles. He's always been there in club cricket. This season, he's right there, isn't he? Just having a really, really top season. 188 not out, performed big against Bootle off 125 balls. I'm sure, Matt, we've come across him a few times up there. Hell of a player. Leo Carter at Holmesdale against Blackheath in the Kent Premier League, 176 not out off of 146. Ryan McKendry at New Farnley against Cleckheaton. They keep churning out the runs New Farnley do in the Bradford Prem. 170 not out. He's just 101 balls there. That's a hell of a quick 170 not. All the top 4 here were not out, by the way. John Oswell, Burnett Field against Chester Street, 155 not out in the North East Premier League. And it is, what's his first? Daniel Pawson, Woodall Spa, 152 off 106 against Bourne in the Links Premier League. But then there's just, familiar names all the way down. Deepak Karti in the Smethwick against Moseley. There's Dick Weller there with 142, as mentioned. Stephen Reingold, just a few names jumping out at me. But yeah, Vance Jarney, nice to see him getting some runs, 136 for Richmond in the Middlesex League, and so on and so on. Anything else jumping out at you?
Yeah, Will Frayne, Yorkshire player, playing for York with 120 there. First ton of the season for Louis Babra for Northern, having moved from Nottingham to the Liverpool competition there. Ben Heap keeps breaking records for Lower House, with another ton. And I think one of the others that I picked out was in the game of the day in the Home Counties League. Finchampstead beat High Wycombe with our old mate, Mr. Chris Britt, with another ton. He only got to 100. He only got to 100 this time. But he's just a run machine, to say the least. And just coming back round to Ian Cobain. Right now, from the stats I've been going through, he's on 917 runs in the Premier League this year. But overall, 29 games, 1,893 runs at an average of 94.65 in all games. Chapeau, Mr. Cobain. Chapeau is all we can say. That is just, even by his standards, Taff, this is a ridiculous season that Coey's having, isn't it?
Yeah, he's striking at 100 as well. Just to throw that in. And I was actually looking at his stats yesterday, and he's 15 50s, 500s. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
When the closest person to him in the club in the Premier League,
1,000 runs behind him,
is 1,000 runs behind him. All we'll say is, Adam, you're doing extremely well, mate, in Premier League cricket. But just keep an eye on that tail, because if Coey carries on at this rate, he might be coming past you. To say the least, he's up there. You've seen, you've been lucky to play in, without a shadow, one of the best leagues in the country for run scoring. But you've also played in one of the best, second best, I'd say, in the top 2 or 3. Sussex ain't bad for run scoring, especially those boys at Three Bridges, are they?
Yeah. Obviously, it was a few years ago now, but I really enjoyed my time there. They were a fantastic club. That was their first year when I was there. That was their first year back in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'd imagine that their goals and that kind of thing are quite different to sort of what they were when I was there. It was kind of just stay up and hope we get another year in the Premier League, but still keep in regular touch with a lot of those guys. And they're a really good bunch, and it's really good to see them come into fruition to what they wanted as a club. And I think they were there or thereabouts to the top of the league last year, and they're going all right again this year. It's hard to miss on social media when
exactly,
obviously, their social media is outstanding, and they do a really, really good job. So feels like every second reel on my phone is Luke Beaufort or Joe Walker whacking it everywhere. So
they are the absolute leaders when it comes to streaming and what they've put out on YouTube. They're a couple of 3 years ahead of everyone else, to be frank. And as you say, it just dominates what's out there. But like you say, they've only just got into the Prem now. They've now cemented themselves as a top 3 or 4 side year in, year out. And it's got to be that roundedness of the club when it comes to the marketing, when it comes to the on and off field, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think the really good thing that they have going for them is that they're all mates, whether that's on the field, whether that's off the field. They all just spend time together sort of all the time, or that was certainly the case when I was there. And obviously there's a lot of sort of the same personnel still playing in that team now. They all just love it, and again, I think they play for the right reasons. They play to get around their mates, and that probably goes a long way to the success that they have had.
Most definitely. Got to ask one final question before we look at the results there at the weekend then. It's the one that I'm bound to ask, isn't it, Hugh? Sussex League, East Anglia League. Which is the most difficult to bat in? Which is the most competitive?
Oh, geez. Which is the most difficult to bat in? Well, when I was in the Sussex League, I was rubbish, so I'd definitely say that one. I don't know. It's really interesting. Obviously, I was a lot younger then and a lot more probably immature as a cricketer. I'm not saying by any stretch that I'm mature now, but I think I really like the EAPL, and I think obviously there's a lot of guys that are playing regular minor county cricket in the EAPL, and obviously then you play sides like Sawston and Great Witchingham, sort of the teams that they can put out at times are, well, you feel like it's almost not really club cricket at times. It's almost towards semi-professional sort of stuff. But having said that, some of the professionals that I played against when I was in Sussex also, Ben Menenti was at Roffey at that time, and there was a few others that had incredible sort of first-class records as well. So I probably am going to sit on the fence if I'm allowed to, but I think both of them are awesome and different challenges.
Yeah,
but it's I think that's what it's all about. You just got to jump in, soak it all up, and try and learn as quickly as you can.
What was the move like? I mean, an 18-year-old coming from, were you based in Auckland at that time? Did you have family down there? Is that why you ended up at Three Bridges, or was it just a complete jump into the dark for you?
It wasn't a complete jump into the dark. So obviously, being born in the UK and that kind of stuff, I have a lot of family that still live in Bedfordshire, and it just so happened that the overseas professional that Three Bridges had the year before that I was there played at my club in Auckland, and then a couple of the Three Bridges boys actually then the summer prior to me coming over joined David and did a season at my club in Auckland, and it just so happened that one of those was the Three Bridges captain, Matt Blandford, at the time, who's now actually still living in Auckland and is a coach of the Auckland female team. But yeah, he just happened to be the captain, and I was 18, so it was all news to me, kind of doing all that kind of stuff, and I just said I'd love to go over and play. And David actually signed to go back as the overseas, but obviously, as I said, being British born and holding that passport, I could play as I think it's a Cat 1. I'm not entirely sure. That's way above my pay grade, but it meant that I could go with them, and obviously as being 18 and having familiar faces around that I'd known for a while made definitely a big difference.
So I'm sure jumping into a team that's stuffed full of young men who are all good mates and a few lads you knew back home, you had a very sober and well-behaved time over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we worked really hard at our cricket and all sorts of stuff. No, it was good. Yeah, as I said, they're a great bunch of guys, and definitely made me feel welcome and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was awesome.
Most definitely. Hey, let's start at the top of the Sussex League with that game that his old mates at Three Bridges played at the weekend, shall we, Hugh? And he's already mentioned him, Luke Beaufort with a ton.
Yeah, Luke Beaufort, 107 off 108 balls. Three Bridges, 233 all out. Bognor bowled out for 121 and a big win for then. Ryan Maskell, 47, was the only person who did anything for Bognor. But Rowan Nord, 5 for 20 with Three Bridges. Great effort from him, just 9 overs. Just jumping down the other games, we've got East Grinstead, 156, batting first. Roffey got it, 7 down, like a fun game that. Nobody's really able to score too much. Aaron Jobby's top scored for Roffey, 62, in what proved to be a match-winning innings. Tom Barnes, 5 for 39. Haywards Heath, Cuckfield put up 258, batting first in 58 overs. Haywards Heath got it in 48 overs, 3 down. Freddie Wallace, 115 off 140 balls, was the star there. Preston Nomads, Ifield. Preston Nomads, 227 for 9. Batting first, Ifield bowled out for 105. Horsham, they put up 189 for 3, chasing Middleton's on 8-8, so there's a comfortable win for them.
Yeah, and I think you talk about the players of the quality that's playing in the Sussex League down there. John T. Jenner back playing for Preston Nomads. He's not had the season we've used to seeing him play. And George Thomas is down at, if I'm wrong, George Thomas is down at Three Bridges, having left Somerset last year. He was due to play for Wales National County in the NCCA, but Sussex gave him a contract, so you've got to go down to Sussex and play with one of the big boys down there. And I think where you are, Adam, that's the difference between playing first-class county, first-class twos, whatever you want to call it, versus playing NCCA. You've enjoyed your time in the NCCA already, haven't you?
Yeah, I've loved it. As I said earlier, just about like batting and you could get 100 one day and you get a duck the next, and that's just part and parcel of cricket. But yeah, I'm incredibly grateful for the NCCA competition and in particular the people at Suffolk. Adam Mansfield as coach has been amazing, and so too has the whole group really, both of Jack and Josh, the red and white ball captains. It's a pretty good group, and we all enjoy getting around each other on a Saturday and on a Sunday. And yeah, it's obviously to play against like different people sort of across the country. It can be a pretty hectic sort of schedule when you walk off the field at 8 o'clock and then you've got to drive to wherever on a Saturday night. But yeah, the guys just get on with it, and I've loved it. I played a little bit and got a little bit of a snippet last year, and thankfully I've been involved a little bit this year too. And yeah, I just love it. You just got to, as I said earlier, you just make the most of sort of every opportunity that gets thrown at you. And
so the opportunity started last week for you in the Red Bull competition, and it didn't particularly go the way you would expect it to. But we're going to talk bowlers in a minute. You did come up against what I class as probably one of the top three bowling sides in the NCCA. Suffolk were bowled out for 156. There was weather around, I know, and stuff like that as well. But you came up against Mr. Cam Parsons, Mr. Max Utley, and Mr. Connor Haddow, all playing for Bucks. Yeah, that was a tough one to lose, wasn't it?
Yeah, obviously we sort of manufactured a game of cricket, and I think it was a brave sort of manufacture, sort of from both sides. Obviously with the weather around and sort of what the Dukes can do in overcast conditions in this country. But I mean, you play to win games of cricket, really, don't you? And that's what you sort of wanted. But that's the reason that you play. So to see people in those situations. But those Bucks boys were incredibly disciplined. Obviously, Connor sort of the left arm spinner holds his end really, really nicely. It didn't do too much, but they just never really missed, and they put us under pressure as a batting unit for long periods of time, and they just hammer away and kept attacking the stumps. There was still enough in the wicket. It probably wasn't a 150 all out wicket. There was a couple of our boys would have been very disappointed, but that's what happens, when a good bowling side like that get on a roll, they can really wreak havoc.
Yeah, and you could see from the beginning. I mean, you were bowled by Cam Parsons. How good's Cam? That he's one of the best in the NCCA.
Yeah, absolutely. As for the other guys, just so skillful and so disciplined, and probably similar to what I spoke about with Brett in terms of a guy that has ability to bowl long spells. I think in that 3-day format is a massive weapon. It's sort of in the 3-day off cricket that I've played at home in New Zealand, it's you sort of rely on your spinner to play that holding role, but there are really some seamers here that can do that, but not only play that holding role. When they get a sniff, they can really pounce on that. So he's one of those guys that sort of feels like he's always hitting the stickers of your bat, and you're like, oh, how's he done that? But a very, very skillful bowler.
After Zoomies at the dog park, it's time for Drive Up at Target. In goes a big bag of kibble and one squeaky chicken toy for the good boy. Drive Up that's ready when you are, only in the Target app. Just tap Target.
The McDonald's Snack Wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch Snack Wrap. Spicy Snack Wrap. You broke the internet. For a snack. Snack Wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Let's talk about those bowlers around the country and start with the Cric. We have got a top three who all play for Premier League clubs. They might not have got all these wickets in the Premier League, but these are names that we're getting used to, aren't they, anyway, Taaffe?
Yeah, they are. Like you say, it's Hemheath's Johan Leonarge with 7 for 8, so he's had a serious day. I think that was off 15 overs as well, without looking at the scorecard. As you just touched on, Casey Cariappa, 7 for 30 for Mildenhall. He's just a class act with the ball, and spent a bit of time with him Wednesday for our showcase game, and he's a serious bloke as well. Dick Changzu Negi, 6 for 19 for West Horton. He's just a proven performer year on year with both bat and ball. I think he's closing down 1,000 runs in all comps and over 50 wickets. So great year for him. Canterbury Sean Davey, again playing in Northern Ireland, but 6 for 21. Not that you'll be wanting me to boast that, Livo. And then, like you say, Mayank Mishra, another 5 for Cleethorpes, 5 for 15. Meran Samwell for Penzance in the national knockout on Sunday, 5 for 26. 5 overs, so a proper spell of bowling for him, and they progress through to the next round, and that's looking really tasty, isn't it? The last 4 there. And then Hassan Damundi for Tong, again, 5 for 31, but an awful lot of 6-fers, 5-fers from our boys. We can probably do another top 10 of other 5-fers, to be honest, but it's great to see.
There was some good ones out there, but we've also got some top stats around the rest of the country. Names that have already been mentioned are in there. Do you want to go for the very top there, Hugh?
I'll start with 48 Premier League 5-fers this weekend. Wasn't a full load of Premier League fixtures either. I think still a few T20 comps knocking about and some weather, so it wasn't a full spread. But yeah, Jack Hebron, 8 for 29 for Brentwood against Hadley and Thunderley. Some effort that. It's I mean, in terms of the match situation, Brentwood 321 for 6 declared, Hadley and Thunderley 74 all out. And Jack Hebron's just run riot there, hasn't he?
And scored 90.
Well, it's not a bad effort. He's currently second on my list of best all-round performances in the country this season. So when you're scoring 90 and getting an 8 and you're second, somebody's done pretty well to be above that. Nav Patel, Preston Nomads against Highfield, 7 for 27 for him. And then there's KC Cariappa in that game of Mildenhall, managed to draw. Bad luck to them, 7 for 30 against Whittam. Stephen Oddie, 7 for 41 for Rochdale against Darwin in the Lancs League. And then there's Brett Stolworthy for Downham Stowe against a certain Sudbury in the EAPL, as we have mentioned, 7 for 41. He's there. And then we've got another 4 more 7-fers. Archie Scott, Harry Van Than, Isaac Brooks, and Raymond Tanzil for Stoke Green. They're all 7-fers, loads of 6-fers, and lots of 5-fers.
Absolutely. And when you see our performance of the week this week on Twitter, which will go out very shortly, you will see that it's going to be dominated by 3 all-rounders this week, because I can't not put Jack Hebron in, 8 for 29, 90 not out. Brad Schmulian, 6 for 36 and 104. And you've already mentioned him earlier on, Hugh. Deepak Khatri, 147 off 115 balls for Smethwick. And he also happened to take 5 for 56.
Yeah, there's Nav Patel's got 68 and 7 wickets. Archie's got 66 and 7 wickets. George Tate, 85 and a 5 for. There's some guys doing very, very well. I just mentioned the all-round performances there. Best all-rounder single performance in the country this season. Takes some. Yeah, so Husnain Bakari with 159 and 7 wickets is top. Jack Hebron 90 and 8 wickets, and then Deepak Karti there with his 147 and 5 wickets. Those are the top 3 all-round performances in the country this season. And they've all been in pretty much the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I think one of the other results that I do want to look at further down the list, though, and I'm going to bore us all to smithereens once again with a classic DLS. So 2 of the top 3 in the Northants League, it was Findon Dolman versus Oundle Town. Quite clearly not a T20, because Findon batted for 20.4 overs and they were all out for 67, our friends at Findon Dolman. They were bowled out by the Craig brothers. 8 for 31 between Connor and Harrison Craig. Now, let's have a little competition, shall we? Adam, you would have possibly looked at this score. Findon Dolman bowled out in 20.4 overs for 67. What would be the target for Oundle Town on DLS in 29 overs, 9 overs more?
Oh, I'm going to go. But if they're all out, then surely DLS doesn't. It would be 67, wouldn't it?
You'd like to think if there were 67 all out, that they'd have to score at least 67. But the DLS came out at 52 of 29 overs. So you bowl a side out for 67, well done, and then you get given an extra 9 overs to score 15 less, and you win. Yeah, guys, someone's got to look at this. I'm looking at Adam now, looking out the window.
That actually makes more sense than the last few weeks, to be fair.
It sort of makes more sense, but it's still crap, isn't it, to say the least? It just, things that get on our nerves. Point systems, I think, have gone beyond that now, Hugh. DLS is just winding us up. But there is another result that I've got to look at from last week. That 29 overs that was bowled there was not the lowest number of overs in the entire country, Hugh. And I don't know if you picked up on this one. Lowest number of overs in the entire country. I think this is the second time this year it's happened. Saltburn bowled out on their own ground for 58, and Martin won by 8 wickets in a match that lasted just 28.3 overs. Yeah, that's twice that we've seen Saltburn bowled out for bugger all on their own ground, mate.
Yeah. I mean, famously it was a very low scoring ground, but actually we've seen some big scores there as well this season. So yeah,
it was. Yeah. And just for those who like the stats, I've only found one game so far this weekend with more than 600 runs. Very low scoring weekend by what we could see around the country. And I could see 6 games where there were 50 or less overs bowled in total. And that sort of lines up with what you talked about with the all-rounders, Hugh. All-rounders look to have a right all weekend, didn't they, compared to 1 or 2 that we've had?
Well, I think as soon as the weather gets in and amongst everybody, then someone, if you can put a 150 up, you're much more likely to get those wickets to go with it. So there's some serious match-winning performances coming on, isn't there?
And have you seen that, Adam, just in that last couple of weeks with that weather, that entire change in the way the sort of the season, everyone's just scoring runs for fun down in East Anglia, and now all of a sudden, the Stolworthies of this world are going, here we go, boys. There's a game on, isn't there?
Yeah. I think obviously with the weather around, it does sort of, particularly in games where you stop and start, it makes it quite hard as a batter to find that rhythm. Equally so for bowlers, but with those clouds around, and certainly in East Anglia, it's been relatively humid as well. So that sort of makes very good conditions for swing bowling, and it probably levels the playing field. The bowlers probably feel very hard done by sort of this summer, but that's part and parcel of how the game goes. And I think you just have to, as I said before, just take the good with the bad. And when you get a good week, it's a case of trying to really wreak some havoc and really make it a day out for you, whether that's with the bat or with the ball.
Absolutely. Hey, let's have a look at one more league this week, and we're going to talk a days out. I like that Radio 5 link. I know where Hugh was on Sunday. He was in a Yorkshire North Premier League ground. How did you find Castleford, mate?
It was great. I had a lovely time. I was at uni in Bradford, and I don't know, I just feel happy when I go up to that sort of part of the world. I feel safe. I feel like I'm home. And just the highlight for me was, and Castleford, absolutely fantastic setup. They did a really good job. Wicket was really good. It turned a fair bit or a lot. Our spinners the Derbyshire young lads have got a left arm spinner who did really, really well, which is great for him. He plays for our club as well, which was nice to see him do so well. But my favourite bit of the day was just popping to the shop over the road and just having a natter with the people in the shop. And I don't know, and everyone says Yorkshire's friendly, but they really are. I was in there about 3 or 4 times through the day getting ice creams and sandwiches and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it's just great. I had a lovely day. They had the cricket on the big screen. Castleford's clubhouse is brilliant. Massive old ground.
Did you spend time on the Wainwright Terrace?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it reminded me of the Dolphins show in Valencia. They've got this kind of blue seating, so it feel like we're all sat there, and there should be a swimming pool and some dolphins jumping. Not that I approve of the Dolphins,
okay,
but yeah, it was
all
great.
I'll say is, before we talk about Yorkshire North results, Colson Smith, if you're listening, you've just heard from Hugh what he wants below the Wainwright Terrace.
That's right. Yeah.
End of season, a couple of swimming pools just below. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would cap it off. Yeah, to hell with the cricket. Yeah, but I tell you what, it's a hell of a pull. Ball shot you're going to have to play to clear the fences there. Goodness me, it's not too bad straight, but
it's big.
It's square of the wicket. Yeah,
it's big, definitely.
Well, my lad got himself run out. He hit fairly, I think it was not a cut shot or pull shot, so I can't remember which way round he was. It would have been a pull shot, and he called 3 and decided he was running 3. And the Yorkshire lads did great, pinged one in, but it's gone a long way, the ball, and it's come a long way back again. He's decided he's running 3 from the first ball and got himself run out, the idiot. So yeah, there you go.
On that point, let's talk about Castleford being top of the Yorkshire North League with another big win at the weekend, mate.
Yeah. I was having a good chat with groundsman there as well. They seem very, very pleased with how things are going. But yeah, Callum Rowe, 142 for them. Dave Wainwright, unsurprisingly, 85 not out for Castleford against Hull-Zingari. Hull-Zingari put up 144, chasing 296 and didn't get anywhere close. So terrific effort for them. Dave Wainwright with 3 for 24 as well. Eddie Morrison, 3 for 37. Clifton Alliance, Harrogate, Clifton 255 for 7, batting first, bowled out Harrogate for 212, Sam Grant 66, Will Cross 66 and Tom Brown 65 for Clifton, Ben Carr 71 for Harrogate in reply. Woodhouse Grange, Driffield. Woodhouse Grange put up 194 in 49 overs and Driffield got it 5 down. Alec Drury not quite having the season he had last year, but he's still going pretty well. 64 for him. Noah Kelly 37. Good team effort for Driffield to get over the line there. Sam Britton 342 for Woodhouse Grange. Beverley Knaresborough 181 all out batting first. Will Wade 92 was a really, really important innings for Knaresborough. And then Ashley Watson 6 for 26 for them, helped them bowl Beverley out for just 73. Not a huge amount for them. And then York, Sheriff Hutton Bridge put up 243 at York, which they probably would have been pretty happy with. Yeah. But then York got it, as far as I can see, none down. 247 in 38 overs. Very, very comfortably done. Will Frayne, 120 off just 108 balls. Simon Lambert, 108 off 124 balls. Job done for York.
Yeah, big win that for York, because that takes them into third place in the league now, behind Sheriff Hutton Bridge and Cass, who are at the top. As we know in the Yorkshire North League, because Scarborough scarpered at the beginning of the season, there is only one team going down, and Sesse, they're looking a little bit hung out to dry there now, aren't they? They're 28 points behind Hull-Zingari, and Knaresborough another 4 points ahead of that. So I think we're going to see Sesse go down presently. But the top, as you say, the boys are very happy at Castle, aren't they? I mean, it's all going swimmingly well, to use your swimming pool thought process. It's all going quite well up there for them.
Yeah, I mean, they played York on Sunday. They had that on in the front box. They switched the test match off. I think we all switched the test match off except you, because you were there. They had that on. But yeah, Cass bowled out for 198. Chasing 209 in the cup against York, but still very, very competitive. So yeah, they're knocked out of that. But yeah, they're doing terrifically well, and they've got a good margin at the top of the league, haven't they?
Absolutely. I think the other thing I've got to bring up now, just before we sort of come to the close of this recording, is Taaffe mentioned it. That last 4 of the ECB National Club Championship is now decided. Yeah, we saw four cracking ties at the weekend. Ashted played Wanstead and Snaresbrook, and Wanstead quite comfortably, I think, there in the end went through. The game of the weekend, without an absolute shadow, was South North at home to Ormskirk. Ormskirk scored the highest runs of the weekend in the club championship, scoring 204, 206. Haven't got it in front of me, and won by 2 runs. It was an absolute humdinger towards the end there to get themselves into the semi-final. We've then got our friends from Nolan Dorridge and Ollie Currell. They defeated Cavs in Carrington at home on Sunday. And finally, the longest drive of the weekend from Penzance to Middleton in Sussex for our friends Brad Wadler at Penzance and the boys down there. I think it was a 5 or 6 hour drive on the Saturday night, stayed overnight, and they blitzed Middleton from the Sussex League to get themselves a home semi-final. And now it's going to be Penzance at home to Wanstead and Snaresbrook coming from the Essex side, whereas Ormskirk will be at home to Nolan Dorridge. And here's a stat for you, Hugh. It's a minor stat, but quite pleased with ourselves here. 3 of the captains of the last 4 in the national knockout, all friends of the show, been on this season with us. We know how to back, don't we? We know how to choose. That's definitely. And I'm in touch with Wanstead. Want Joe to come on and do something with us as well before. Adam, you guys and the Nationals. It's this funny thing, isn't it, with the NCCA counties? The Nationals don't get as big. Not they are important, but they don't get as good a run because you've got the NCCA crickets playing on Sunday.
Yeah, it's obviously I experienced the national 40 over knockout with Three Bridges. We didn't go overly well in it, I don't think, in those years, but it's I guess in East Anglia it's a product of the minor county cricket. I think Sunday was my first Sunday off cricket for, it might have been Easter Sunday. So
right.
It's obviously a very, very sort of hectic schedule. I think a couple of the teams in the league might enter it, but obviously with the minor county commitments of a lot of our players, it does make it very challenging to sort of field a competitive side. It's well above my pay grade as to who makes the decisions as to who plays for who if it does clash. But I know at Sudbury we haven't entered it. But as I said, it's just a product of there being so much cricket to play, which is a very, very good thing. But it does, you're going to miss out somewhere, aren't you?
You can't do everything, can you? And if you look at the fourth semi-finalists of the club championship, we've got Penzance from Cornwall, which is an NCCA county. We've got Wanstead from Essex. We've got Nolan Dorridge from Warwickshire and Ormskirk from Liverpool, Lancashire. So you have got three first-class counties with teams that have got through that semi-final. So it does say it all, doesn't it, really?
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I think it's one of those things that, I know that from a Suffolk point of view, you're getting outsiders into play is quite challenging. There's like restrictions on it. So it's good that people that do play in those competitions that are associated with first-class counties still get a decent crack to go and have a day out.
Just a shout out to a player here. So Nolan Dorridge got a young lad called Amaris Khan playing for them. I think he's 16. He's come on my radar recently. He's just really fired for Nolan Dorridge in their first team this season. Looking at his stats, averaged 6 for the first team last year as a 15-year-old. Fair enough. He's averaged 38 for them this year. But it's the ball striking that is what I'm hearing about. He is a truly modern cricketer to the point he is at a private school around here, and there have been complaints. This is a school that's been standing for multi-hundreds of years, and there have been complaints from the neighbours for one of the first times in history due to the amount of balls going over the walls of this private school. So this is Amaris Khan. He's already played second team cricket for Warwickshire this season. He's not a big lad either. He's just a very, very strong boy. Look out, I would say. Look out.
Absolutely. I think that's the perfect thing for me to bring up, which all three of us are very on board with. Rory Hayden, Amrit Basra, Joe Hawkins, NCCA players all being signed to play in the Metro Bank in the coming month. How important is that lead up for you, Adam, to see the potential of these guys getting these contracts and what you could potentially do as well?
Yeah, I think it's awesome to see people get recognised. Certainly, obviously, in the past, it seems as though there has been a bit of a stereotype, or certainly from my experience, it's been a short experience, but that it doesn't really get looked at. So, I played against Rory last year when he was playing for Staff. So, I guess it just opens up another pathway, and it shows that actually, if you do sort of fall out of that academy cricket, as it seems to me that there is a bit of a fallout there, that there is ways back in, and if you keep doing the right things and you keep knocking on doors of the right people, then you will get rewarded. Yeah, it's awesome for those guys, and I'm sure that they'll have a heck of a time, and I'm sure they'll learn a lot too. But yeah, it's really cool. I think that's a unique way of sort of pushing your case into the first class scene.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you pointed out already the quality of what you play at Premier League cricket is good. The quality of what you play at NCCA is even better, and it just shows that gap between first class and NCCA is actually so narrow. And I put it down to one thing and one thing alone. A first-class player will train 5, 6, 7 days a week. An NCCA player won't, because they've got to actually have a job and they've got to earn their bucks another way. Yeah, and it's the likes of these, of Rory, Amrit, Joe, and you look at Tom Hindley, who's come out of NCCA cricket, having dropped out, and now he's playing for Worcester. Once these guys get that opportunity to train 6 days a week and actually play at that level, it's got to be a different ball game for everyone, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's the exposure to those learning environments that make you a better player. I always sort of think about it as sort of just throw yourself in the deep end and figure out if you sink or swim. I think obviously the professional cricketers that I've been exposed to are so good at summing up conditions and figuring out a way all the time, no matter what the surface or the situation is and still find success. Obviously, a large part of that is just due to a lot of hard work that they put in at training and all sorts of things. Whereas I guess a club player might not be so well equipped to all sorts of different or minor county player might not be so equipped to all sorts of conditions. But again, that's part of, I guess, the hierarchy, and that's what separate the good ones from being so good, and the your normal club player from where. It's what, they're very, my experience of it, thankfully I've been exposed to so many players, but they're just relentless with how they go about it, and it always feels like they're sort of one step ahead.
Yeah, most definitely. And talk of being one step ahead, got to mention another name that's come out of the NCCA, signed for Warwickshire end of last season, and there's Zen Malik scoring. Was 140 odd last week, Hugh?
142. I mean, he's the one, isn't he, that Saka have sort of taken the credit for, and they deserve to take some of the credit, but that's a combined effort from obviously himself, but also Monty Python used to have this sketch where a guy would dance up and tap someone with a little fish. I don't know if you remember it. And then Michael Palin would have pulled out this giant fish and belts him into the sea. And it's like that with Zen Malik. Like, everyone's been going, this guy is incredible. He's been scoring runs for fun in one of the toughest leagues to score runs.
Very much.
Full stop, for years. He's 27 now, so he signed a pro term last year at 26. And he's got 140 in the second innings of a match to win the game for Warwickshire last week. It's taken him a little bit of time to just up those levels, get himself up, but he's averaging just shy of 50 in first-class cricket now. How many other Zen Maliks are there out there? And the answer is an awful lot.
Correct.
And they just need to be backed. And whether it's Saka, whether it's anything else, it's just a reminder that actually there are really good players playing Premier League cricket who are very, very capable, given the chance of playing professional cricket, that have been missed for whatever reason early in their careers. And I think the system is not set up. It's set up really well to pick these guys up now, I think up to 18. I think it's that 18 to 18 onwards that isn't particularly well set up. That Australia seems to have it nailed. The guys jumping into state cricket. I'm not sure on New Zealand, Adam, what the pathway looks like for lads maybe that develop a little bit later in New Zealand. What's your thoughts on jumping from club into state cricket in New Zealand once you've got past the sort of those pathway levels?
Yeah, I think it is obviously an incredibly challenging space, and I think for a lot of those guys, you go to uni, you sort of get opened up to a whole new world. But I think that's where, in that space, you see the people that actually really care about it. That's where they really come into sort of fruition, and if you really, really want it, then you will sort of put the effort in and make it happen. It is a hard one. I'd say from my experience in New Zealand is that obviously with our professionals and a lot less sort of second team cricket in New Zealand, and club guys, the first class guys coming back down to play club cricket, you are sort of exposed to it in bits and pieces. And the one thing that I would say is that if you were to go and whack 300s in a short space of time, then you're not going to be missed. They will, or certainly they will sort of start taking a lot more interest in what you're doing. There is also so much talent going around as well. You can't, it's the nature of professional sport. You can't pick everyone, but obviously I'm sure that people would like to, but it is a fickle sort of environment. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you just have to stay as grounded as you can. And as I sort of said, from a bowling point of view, it sort of shapes who you are and moving forward. And if you get an opportunity and that kind of thing, you just have to try and make the most of it. And some might not work out. Obviously, I've had a little taste of second team cricket in Auckland and both with Otago as well. I've never played any second team cricket here, but yeah, you just have to make the most of it and sort of leave as much as you can out there. And obviously, if it works, it sort of seems, if I go on a bit of a tangent, it sort of seems as though here it's really around what counties need. From a trialist perspective, you just if a first class county's batters are going really well, why would you need a batter? You're better off at that point of view, at that stage. Looking at your academy guys, and that's where you'll then find those ones that are really young. If you throw them in the deep end to second team cricket at 16 and they go all right, it's like, wow, we really might have a player here. And obviously that means that those guys in Premier League cricket that are going really well probably do sort of slip on the outer. But if you if you put up enough and you do enough of the right things, then more often than not, word of mouth will get around, and someone will, take you up on it. It's just whether, the timings fits right, and the reality is, are you in need?
Most definitely. And I think you hit the nail on the head there when it comes to need. I look at the players who've got contracts over the last 12 months that we could just pick, that we know: Tom Hinley, Tommy Sturgis at Worcester, Nikhil Garantla now with his contract at Surrey. The guys go to Derbyshire. I am aware of another NCCA player who has got a contract pending that I'm not allowed to talk about yet.
I reckon I could guess who it is as well.
Okay, we'll come to that maybe off the record. But it's just nice to know that these players are being recognised. And whilst we know first-class counties haven't got the scouting system that, say, football clubs have, they have got ears to the ground. There's word on the street. Have a look at this one. And they're doing a little bit of it. We just think they could do a whole lot better because, there's still, let's be blunt, there's still a lot of 30-plus professional cricketers in first-class counties who I am certain could be bettered by players in the Premier League and NCCA. Okay, maybe 35 plus, maybe not. But there's plenty out there, and we just need to keep seeing this change, and it's coming because you're seeing these youngsters get more of a shine, and you might see these guys play a lot more university cricket, which is really good standard, and the two getting these opportunities. And that's what it's all about for everyone, isn't it? So, hey, we're coming to the end of this recording. Been great having you on, Adam. Talking all things Sudbury, runs. We won't talk about Brett Stallworthy anymore because it'll give you nightmares. And, it's been great to have you on. Just what are you thinking for the end of the season? Give us a number. I'm going to put you under pressure now. Give me a number. Premier League runs. I think you've got 7 league games left. Can you make 1,500 runs?
I actually couldn't tell you how many I'm on. I know that sounds ridiculous. I try and stay away from it and just worry about getting my next one and where that's coming from.
1,057 Premier League runs so far this season.
Oh, geez. My mates are going to spray me for this. I don't know. I know. Are you going to make me say a number, or can I just say the politically correct
No,
answer?
he's bailing on this now.
I won't make you say a number. I will make you say a name. Who's going to win the East Anglia League? It could be tight towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I think it's probably a 2-horse race for me between Sawston and Horsford. Horsford is an interesting one because you can turn up on a hybrid and it can be incredibly flat. And Neil Hornbuckle and Jordan Neal will get you, but then you can also turn up there and play on the other cricket wickets, and I've only ever played there on a hybrid, but the other wickets seem to be notoriously not overly friendly for batters. I think it's Sawston. I think it's theirs to lose. The quality that they can call on, and they miss a few players, and you're like, oh well, they're just bringing so and I think it is theirs to lose. Obviously they won the competition last year and they have set the benchmark, but I think Horsford will run them to right through to the end.
Hopefully. Hey, great to have you on, Adam. What you got coming up in the next week, Hugh?
All over the shop, to be honest. Down in Glamorgan, up at Bags, yeah, all over the place.
Well, I have the pleasure of I'm doing a women's 50 over game tomorrow over at Edgbaston. I've then got 8 or 9 days off from analyst duty before the 100 starts, and I've got half a dozen of them already in the diary. Yeah, I'm going to be thinking of Manny Murasinghe up north and see if anyone could take 71 balls out of 100 and just dominate the strike that way. That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't
it? That's it.
So definitely.
Very good.
Have a good one, mate. Thanks a lot, Adam.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Adam.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NCCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk, to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.